Welcome to the next in the Farmstay USA webinar series on best practices. I'm glad that you all are with us today. We're going to be talking about the farm store, adding more value for your guests and for you. We're going to have two wonderful guests to speak to this for us who are also Farmstay hosts. And I think we will get started right now. A little housekeeping for those of you who have attended the previous webinars. This is a repeat. Zoom offers you the opportunity to interact with us. So Kate is on chat. If you have any tech problems, please feel free to just chat with her. It doesn't show up anywhere for us. But the Q&A, which you will also see as an option for you, are where we want you to put your questions. We will answer those at the end of the two presentations. But you can feel free to type your questions in at any time. Your microphones are muted, so other than mine and the presenters, that just keeps things simple. And we will be answering questions verbally, so we will be reading off. There is a short survey at the end of this webinar, which is part of my grant feedback, and hopefully I've done it correctly this time, so please fill that in for us. If you have any problems, can you let me know? And the webinar is going to be posted on the Farmstay USA website in our Farmer's Guide, hopefully 24 to 48 hours, as long as we have recorded this correctly. And so you will have access to go back and look at it again. Why us? I am the founder and executive director of the U.S. Farmstay Association, lovingly known as Farmstay USA. I'm Scotty Jones. I launched this site in 2010. We became a nonprofit in 2014, and we're a trade association. But I'm also the co-owner of Leaping Lamb Farm and Farmstay here in Alsea, Oregon. I've been hosting a farmstay since 2006, so all of these topics are near and dear to my heart. I have actually gotten a lot of really good ideas from our prior presenters of things that I can do better, which is what this is all about, best practices. I do interact with our Farmstay hosts regularly, so I get to see what they do well, and I love that. And today we're going to have two farmers with different size stores. So we're going to have Valeria Pitoni first. She's at Stillwaters Farms in Tennessee, and then Jody Benoit, who's at White Oak Pastures in Georgia. And I'm going to introduce Valerie first. As I said, she's at Stillwaters Farms. She's in Henderson, Tennessee. She's actually a Florida native, a little town on the Space Coast, about 45 minutes east of Orlando. And she moved to her farm, I believe in 1998, if I got that correctly. And she can correct me afterwards. She's a former college professor, but she satisfies that need to teach now on her farm by hosting workshops and tours of her farm for her farmstay guests. She is the creative force behind her farm's handcrafted products known as Wild Roses Artisanal and Brethren of the Coast brands. She makes and sells her soaps, coconut wax candles, bath products, as well as her photography and various other art mediums. So welcome, Valerie. I'm going to let you grab the screen from me, and you can take it from here.
Okay, thank you very much, Scotty. I appreciate that. Let me see if I can muddle through this. Okay, there we go. And go into presentation mode, hopefully. There we go. All right, guys, thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much. Scotty asked me to talk to you a little bit today about retail sales, and ours is through a farm boutique. We kind of upscaled it than saying just a farm store, just to add a little bit of wit and whimsy to it. Really, the bottom line of it all is how to add to your bottom line. So you probably want to know, why did I decide to set up a store? Well, if I jump back into my Wayback Machine and I think back to when I first started my farmstay journey, I had nowhere to check my guests in when they arrived. There was absolutely no focal point of our farm. They just got here and we muddled through it. They were just here. So I needed to streamline that just a little bit. I had nothing extra to offer my guests There are no mementos, no extras, no souvenirs, no little piece of the farm, nothing that they could take back home with them to say, here's where we went. And this is one of the really cool things about it. And in all honesty, really at the beginning, I was winging it. I jumped in with both feet and had no idea what I was doing. So what was my solution? Well, you see this little grain bin sitting here. It sat on our farm for years with absolutely no job. So we turned it into the Silo Farm Boutique. So a grain bin, why and how? We'll start with the why of it. And in one word, I can tell you it's resources. When you're deciding to do a farm store, look around your farm. See what you already have in place that you might be able to use. We have the grain bin. Other people may have a barn or an old building or a shed or a Quonset hut or something like that that would work as a space for a retail store without having to go out and actually purchase something. What kind of raw materials do you have on hand? Do you have money to put into this? If so, what's your budget? How much time would you like to allocate to doing this? Do you want to fast track it and make it happen quickly? Can you put hours and hours every day into making it happen? Or is it something that you're going to do over time? And what kind of labor and skills do you have that you can bring to the table? I am a hammer swinger, so I had quite a lot of raw skills that I could bring in helping just put this whole thing together. Also, you need to determine a location, and that's really very important. Our grain bin is right in my yard, and it's kind of along the path between two of our accommodations. So when deciding your location, think of a place that's going to be convenient not only for you, but that will be convenient for your guests. Now let's talk a little bit about the benefits of having a farm store. I see two kinds of benefits. There are financial rewards and intangibles. First, the financial benefits. You're adding to the bottom line of your farm stay revenue because you're going to boost what each of your guests spends. And what does that translate into as far as real dollars are concerned? Well, I can only speak for myself, and I like to be very transparent about that. With our small farm stay store, which is approximately 240 square feet in size on the inside, it added approximately $5,000 to my annual revenue. And that's a gross figure. You're also adding to your farm's bottom line by tapping into a market segment that you would not normally reach. Out-of-state customers that come to stay with you get introduced to the things that you can sell from your farm. They would not normally come by and say, hey, can I buy some of your strawberry jam? Or, hey, can I have some of your soap? But by staying at your farm, they know what you have, and if you can ship it, they can buy it. Now, the intangible benefits. Just a few of them that I could think of off the top of my head were you're building goodwill towards your guests. You're giving them something extra rather than just accommodation. There's another level of interest. It's entertainment for them. I have guests that come and stay with us, and they enjoy the farm. They enjoy the fire pit. They enjoy helping feeding the animals. But they also want something else to do, something that they can kind of get their hands on and not in a dirty way. They want to come in to a nice clean environment and just be able to spend a little bit of time. Word of mouth advertising to your guests, friends, and family in your area, very important. We have guests that come in to stay with us so that they're not encroaching on their family who may have a house that can't accommodate them. So while they're here at the farm, looking through the Silo Farm Boutique, they see something in there that they think Aunt Martha that lives 2 miles away might really like. They introduce her to that, and suddenly you have a new customer. It's also another outlet for your farm's products. If you carry items that are made by other farms in your area, then you are networking with other farmers. And that goes back to the goodwill thing. You're tying those other farmers into your farm stay experience for your guests. And education. Teaching your guests about what your farm plays in the grand landscape of agriculture. Some people don't understand that, and it's eye-opening for them to see how some of these end products are tied to the farm itself. So let's dig in and talk a little bit about merchandise. First off, it's decisions. What should I carry in my store? Best to start at the beginning, and first and foremost, again, look around. What does your farm produce? I did that, and at the beginning we had a hay farm, so that wasn't really a viable product for me. If you have a raw product, decide if you can sell it as is, or do you need to make it into a value-added product? Do you grow pumpkins? You can sell them outright as a raw agricultural product, or you can take those pumpkins, turn them into pumpkin butter, have a value-added product, and sell them for much more than you would get for that initial pumpkin. If you don't have a viable product, going back to the hay, because I couldn't make hay butter from it, then, or are you an artist? Those are things that you can sell through your farm store. And if none of the above apply to you, don't sweat it, because I have a suggestion. If you haven't found your niche yet, there's always the swag that comes in the form of hats, t-shirts, keychains, jackets, things like that. And what about toothbrushes, deodorant, shampoo, skin cream, even bug spray? These are things that your guests will definitely use while they're at your farm, and sometimes they forget to bring them. So if you have them on hand and they need them, you have a sale. Do you want to carry handcrafted farm-related gifts? Don't worry. Why not patronize your farm stay brothers and sisters by becoming a wholesaler? Order products that they make. Maybe they've even written a book that you could carry in your store. The bottom line, we've got a huge talent pool to pick from, and it'd be silly for us not to make use of that. So what's in my store? Well, I am an HSCG certified soap maker, and that is Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetics Guild, and they are the governing entity for all things soap and candle related in the US. I'll take a bow. So I make most of the products that go in my store. And yes, I really do look like that when I'm making my stuff. Just a little partial list of the things that I carry in my store. I make artisanal soaps, shampoo bars, coconut wax candles, and occasionally soy wax candles, lip balms, bath bombs, skin cream, salves, deodorant, salt scrubs, beard balm. See, guys, we didn't forget you. Shave soap, hand-turned shave brushes, paintings, photography, handmade jewelry, and that handmade jewelry is a byproduct of the paintings that I do. I also sell subscription boxes, which basically is a box of assorted things that I make that someone can order. And they can order those on a monthly basis. They can order them for 3 months or 6 months or even a year. I had one customer that ordered a subscription box a month for a year. And every month, just before time to send that out, she would email me with an address and what she wanted written on the card. She would use them for birthday gifts, anniversary gifts, new baby gifts, whatever she could think of, but it gave her a ready-made gift. And then something that's very important are gift certificates. You can order them from Vistaprint or some of the online services or your local printer. I have found that gift certificates are very good for those people that don't know what they want at that time, are looking for a gift for someone that is really hard to please and they'd really rather let them pick it out themselves. So if you have a gift certificate on hand where you may have missed a sale, you may actually get a sale and it may be a larger one. So what do I have in my store that I don't make? Well, it's not a lot. I carry blooming teas, which you can see in the picture there, the glass teapot that you bloom them in, and handmade washcloths because of all the things I do not crochet and I do not knit. And so I farm that out to others that can do that very well. And they do a nice job for me. So do I sell other farms products in my store? No, I don't. It's a basic matter of space. As I said, I only have 240 square feet, so I'm very limited in what I can carry. But do I promote local businesses? Absolutely. So let's talk just a minute about marketing. And we probably should cue the ominous background music because marketing is something that most of us fear. It's something that we most times avoid. And to quote a seafaring term, it vexes us. It just is a confusing, foggy area that it's difficult to navigate. But good news, it can be your best friend in building your clientele, both farm stay guests and locals. So some tips and tricks that I've learned over the course of my time here. Number one, use your products to equip your accommodations for your guests. I can use myself as an example. I make soap. Therefore, every guest that comes here gets to pick out a bar of soap when they're checking in at the Silo Farm Store so that they can use that while they're here on the farm. I also provide deodorants. I usually give the kids lip balms when they come in. Sometimes if the ladies are looking very stressed, I'll throw in a bath bomb for them to use. And use your farm store as your check-in and check-out spot. That way, when one person's filling out paperwork, everyone else in the party is looking around your store. Always, always employ shameless self-promotion. Every opportunity I get to plug my store and my farm stay, I do it. And proactive in what I call hobnobbing and elbow rubbing with the local business folks. Whether it's your Chamber of Commerce, your local coffee shop, you run into the mayor at the subway, always be very upfront and ready to talk about what you're doing, what's new. Invite them out to see your place, come shopping at my store, and take your party on the road. Attend local farmers markets. Go to craft fairs, seasonal things. Sometimes they'll have Christmas marts. If you have something to take, do it because you're being an ambassador not only for your farm store, but for your farm. And if you have brochures and things like that to take with you, take it and put one in every bag of every purchase. And if somebody's just walking by looking, hand them a brochure while they're at it. The bottom line, you never know where your next retail or wholesale customer will come from. Now, we're at a place called odds and ends because these are things that fit neatly into any category. So I just lumped them all together here. First of all, food products. Yes, I sell them when I have them. They are very seasonal, so I let my customers know this is a temporary thing. You got to get them when you see them. It's not something that I'll have all the time, so I can't promise you that it will be here. And if you're selling food items, it's very important to make sure that you know the rules of selling consumables in your area. Talk with your health department. Make sure you have the appropriate health inspections, you have the appropriate setup. Make sure you're very transparent and you won't run into many problems. So a little bit about the honor system type of store and theft. I thought I would lump those together. On the whole, for me, no and no. I don't do the honor system because I can open my store up whenever anyone wants to shop. And that's pretty much how I do it. I don't keep regular hours. I open on demand. And I have a very few group of repeat customers and guests that I would trust to make change for themselves. They could come if I were not home, shop in the silo, make out their list, and make change for themselves, and I would be just fine with it because they are that trustworthy, but there are not many of them. Otherwise, as I said, I open shop whenever my guests need me. If that means 2 in the afternoon, that's great. If it means 2 in the morning, I will crawl out of bed, dust myself off, throw on a bathrobe, and meet them at the silo. And that theft thing, so far so good for me. I have not had any instances of theft, not in the silo and not on any of the excursions that I've made to farmers markets or to craft fairs and the like. But you really do have to keep your eye open. Very, very, very important to take credit cards. Let me say it again, take credit cards. You pay a little bit for that privilege. I think I pay 3.5%, but you will not regret it. For me, my farm store and market sales tripled when I started taking credit cards because in this day and age, not everyone carries cash. I know I don't because I can't trust myself with it. I will go out with a $50 bill in my pocket. I will come home and not have any idea where I spent my money. So I carry credit and debit cards, and there are a lot of people like me. So are you entertaining the idea of opening up your own farm store? I have one big recommendation. Do your homework. Make sure that you know all the ins and outs, your location, how much money, how much time, how many resources. Make sure you know all of that before you get into it. That way you're going in with your eyes wide open. And then I say jump in with both feet and don't look back. It has been a wonderful experience for me and something that I cannot see my farm without at this point. So that comes to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Valerie. Thank you, thank you.
My pleasure.
And I'm going to grab this back.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
We will go from here. Hang on. And I will go to the next page, I hope. There we go. So that was, so Valerie's got a store. She started from scratch. So Jody Harris Benoit, she's at White Oak Pastures and has also just opened recently a store. She's the youngest daughter and 5th generation of the Harris family, who has been raising livestock at White Oak Pastures. Wow, she'll say it's probably 100 years or more. They've been in the farming business for a long time. She graduated from Valdosta State University with a degree in speech communication in 2012. And in 2014, she began working full-time at the farm after her father had told her that she needed to spend at least a year off doing something else. So she is now the farm events manager. She gives guided tours on the farm. She does in-house marketing. She plans various events. I don't have it written on here. She also looks over the farm, takes care of the farm stay on the farm, which are 7 or 8 cottages, houses. And now she's got the farm store on her lap as well. So Jody, welcome. And I'm going to let you talk to us a little bit, and I'm going to switch these slides. So there you go.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. So like Scotty said, my name is Jody. I'm located in Bluffton, Georgia, Southwest Georgia. Our farm is called White Oak Pastures. We've been here since 1866. The store that you see there in the photo was built in the mid 1800s, and so the guy who owned it before us, his name was Herman Bass. So we call it the Bass store, although it's the general store at White Oak Pastures. But internally we call it the Bass store because that's what it's always been. But Mr. Herman shut the doors in 1968. My dad remembers shopping here when he was a little boy. There was 2 stores in Bluffton at the time. And apparently Mr. Herman Bass wasn't the nicest man in town. And if he saw you go in the other store first and then saw you go in his store, he would be real rude to you, Daddy said. But anyway, so we like to joke and say that Mr. Herman's ghost is in here when weird things happen. But whenever Mr. Herman left, I mean, he locked the doors and he never came back. And he left all of his old inventory, as you can see, on the shelves. Left these little candy cases, the counter, all of that we still have in the store today. We did rip the shelves out. There really wasn't much depth to them, so we built our own, but they look very similar to this. We really tried to keep it in that era and how he left it. I even kept his desk, and it sits out there, and we use it as to put product on and different things. So when you walk in, it's like you're walking back in time. So that's how it looks today. The west wing that you see over here that looks like a porch, it is now closed in, and that's where our dining area is. We have 2 food trucks that are parked in the back of the store. And so we cook 21 meals a week here on the farm and serve them in the dining area, which is not reflected in this photo, but that is where it is. And then the east side is our little market where we keep our coolers full of our meats and vegetables. This is the market. So this is all the vegetables that are grown on the farm. We currently, we raise 5 red meat species, 5 poultry species. We have pastured eggs, and then a couple of acres of the certified organic vegetables. Vegetables is a very small part of what we do. We used to do CSA programs and farmers markets, and just really isn't worth it. We're so rural, and takes about, it's 50 miles to get anywhere around here, 50 to 80 miles. So we decided that we would just grow vegetables for the general store to sell, and then in our restaurant to cook. Okay. What you see there is, it's kind of blurry, sorry. That's the center of the store. So this is what it looks like now. This is the original section. But these are 2 leather purses here that you can see. That was, we make all leather items from our cows. They're tanned in 2 tanneries, one in Sebring, one in New York, and then they're sent back to us, and we make leather bags, little journals, earrings, you name it. The girl can sew anything, wallets, and so that's been a really fun part of the business. We do sell, obviously, everything that we produce here on the farm. This side, though, is actually folks that are somewhat local to us, and by local, I mean they're just in the state of Georgia, or really on the our side of the region. Yeah, so this is not us. This is all just local vendors. This is our market, the meat, and restrooms, obviously, as you can see down there.
And description of all the cuts, right?
Yes, and yep. So all the species that we raise, we just had a girl who we know that's a really good artist draw them for us, and she did the different cuts. Okay, let's see what's next, Scotty. So the left side, still the market. The right side is our dining area. So that's what that little wing looks like now. We just got a pony, so he sits just outside that window, and we do pony rides on the weekends, and every Thursday evening we have happy hour here in the store. I guess I should mention we employ about 160 people, and that's kind of what really drove us to create a retail space. Like she said earlier, you really needed a central location, a focal point, and when people would come and check into to stay in a cabin, they would walk into our red meat abattoir where they were immediately introduced to guys cutting up meat. So, it's just a little shocking, I guess, if you're not really sure what to expect. So this really made us want to have a store in Bluffton. One of our passions is reviving our little town of 100 people. And so this was the first step in doing that. And so anyways, we will have happy hour tonight since it's Thursday, and all the employees can bring their kids to ride our pony Oakley for free.
I think, was that it?
Is that it? Okay. Yes. Other things I should mention is we make our own tallow products here. So like we take the suet fat, which is a very clean fat around the intestines of the cow. We'll render that down to make tallow candles, soaps, salves, and chapsticks. I mentioned the leather earlier. Our kitchen, we have obviously we cook here, so we have a lot of value added products. Right now we've got some, we make some hot sauces and different things like that here in the kitchen, and sell those in the store. Looking at my camera to see what else. Obviously t-shirts, it's free marketing. You got to sell hats and t-shirts and bandanas and everything else that you can slap go on. Spice rubs. I guess that's it, unless anybody has questions. I guess I'm better at questions.
Okay, well, I'm gonna throw this to here. So thank you for that, Jody. I rushed you through that a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
But let me just see in terms of questions. Okay, so this is the opportunity for anybody who is participating in this to ask questions. And I'm going to leave this open for a minute, but there was somebody who was not able to attend, and she forwarded on some questions to us to ask, both of you. So first of all, she's wanting to know in her new retail store for checkout, what programs you guys use, if you use QuickBooks or PayPal or Square or some other kind of point of sale system. So Valerie, why don't you go first, and then Jody can go next.
Okay, yeah. My store is very small, so I work all of our businesses on a QuickBooks system for our bookkeeping, but I do not have point of sale. I basically use Intuit to accept my credit cards and debit cards, but I can do that through my cell phone. I have a cash register. It keeps a tally of what I sell, and then I come into the office and do my invoice. So mine's very rudimentary. It's very simple and basic.
Okay, and so Jody, what kind of point of sale are you guys using?
We use a program called Fusion. We needed the ability to yes, ring up things that people wanted to buy in the store, and then B, ring up food. So people place their orders at the point of sale. And I certainly don't recommend it, but I couldn't find anything else that worked any better at the time. And it integrated with our accounting system, which is Sage 100. So it does give us the ability for people to walk in, order, print a ticket back to the food truck, and that tab open so they could buy things and then come back and pay for it. So it's definitely not ideal, but it works for the time being.
And it keeps an inventory for you as well?
It does. Yep. It integrates with Sage, and all my inventory is done through Sage 100.
Okay. So then the next thing she wanted to know, are you guys open to the general public as well as to your guests?
Yes, we are at White Oak Pastures. We are open all the time, every day, but Christmas Day.
Okay. And
We are here at Stillwaters Farm as well. We're closed Christmas Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Easter. And other than that, we're open whenever anyone wants to shop. And like I said, 2 p.m., great. 2 a.m., I will get out of bed for you.
okay. So then she wanted to know, so how much do the people who stay on the farm shop in your stores? If you had 100 people or 50 people shopping or 100 people shopping, so you guys can both answer that one. Does everybody buy something, I guess?
For us, I can give you the highs and lows. Some people come in, look around, make mental notes, and that's about it. Other people on the high end, my last stay, family from Oklahoma came in. Not only did they purchase about $150 worth of products from the store, but they bought out the fleeces that I had not cleaned yet. So I wound up making about $300 off of them, in addition to what they paid to stay here. So by and large, I have most of my guests buy something. So it just kind of ranges depending on what their budget is.
Okay. And how about you, Jody?
Yeah, all of our guests, I would say they will dine here at some point during their stay. A lot of them do like to cook at the cabins, but I would say at least one meal they'll eat here, and they definitely shop. They'll load up on meat before they head home. And I try to, in the cabins, I'll put some leather things like a rug and a little journal. And so, and obviously like our tallow soap, I'll put all those in the cabin. So I would say a lot of them go back and buy some of those items.
Okay. And so do you do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Jody? Do you do all 3 meals?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Okay. And so then she also wanted to know, okay. From both of you, she wanted to know, what are things that you would have done potentially different with your store layout? Smaller, bigger, more lighting, bigger space for checkout, things like that. So Valerie, let's start with you first.
Absolutely bigger. I worked with the space that I had, but if I had it to do over again, I would absolutely go bigger and have a much roomier area for checkout.
Okay. And how about lighting?
Lighting we have down pretty well. I have not only the white Christmas lights around the perimeter, but I also have a huge chandelier hanging in the middle. So we have quite a bit of lighting in that small space, and it's very easy to shop in there.
Okay. And so Jody, how long have you guys had this store open at this point?
We opened it in October of 2016.
Okay. So are there things that you would change or are changing or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our goal was to kind of keep it in the era and make it, obviously a silo is very unique to shop in. So we wanted to keep it like an old timey general store like towns used to.
Okay.
So the layout, I mean, obviously if I had my way, put a metal building on Highway 27 because I feel like people would have been able to find us a little bit easier. But our passion is to revive our town, so we wanted to redo the Herman Bass store. So that was a no-go from the beginning because this was what we wanted to do. And we knew it would be hard for people to find us in the town of Bluffton, but we've gotten better with signage and boards on 27. And so I think hopefully at some point we may put a gas station out by 27, and that will really direct people here because you can't get gas or food within 15 to 18 miles of here. So, and that's fast food. So hopefully that will be happening in the next couple of years. But as far as the layout for food, I mean, serving food here was an afterthought. We already had our industrial kitchen over where our abattoirs are located. So that was initially where we were serving all of our meals. But when people would eat there, I would stop them and say, hey, have y'all been to our general store? It's just a mile north of here. And they're like, oh, no, we missed it. We're heading south. So finally we said, just screw it. And we'll just park the food truck back here. And we started making meals, and it's not ideal by any means. We get slammed on Saturdays and Sundays in the summers with beach traffic, and it's really hard to keep up and make meals in a timely manner. So that those logistics just aren't certainly are not ideal, but we're working with it. So I mean, there are a few things I would change, but we already had a goal. It's not like we built it from scratch. We were already trying to keep it like it was as much as we could.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So if there are no other questions, I think that means we have come to the end of this webinar about farm stores, adding those to your property for your guests and for your community. And I want to thank both of our speakers. Yes.
There's a question for Jody.
Oh.
Will your state put directional signs on the highway for you to direct traffic to your store?
Yeah, the state does. It's a sign going northbound and southbound. It does say White Oak Pastures or agritourism. That's from the Department of Agriculture. They actually put those signs out, but we've been in a little tisk with the DOT about our billboards and being in the right of way. They already don't really care for us because we may or may not test the fence lines here and there on 27. So we don't really have a great relationship with the DOT. So we have to be very careful about our signage because they are really out to get us we feel. So it could be better. We're working on a couple of projects to improve signage so people can find us.
And Jody, there's another question for you. If you could choose only one, would it be a retail store or a restaurant cafe?
That's kind of hard to answer. I guess I would say retail. Food service is really hard. It's not a profitable part of our business, but it is necessary simply just because we serve, our 160 employees. And then if you're going to be in the tourism business, and you can't get food with 15 miles of here, you gotta offer hot meals. And so we're in the tourism business and we're in it big. It may not be the most profitable part of our business, but I am hopeful that it will be, in the future.
Okay, so I think those are all the questions, unless anybody has anything else to ask, either on chat or in the Q&A. So I want to thank both of our presenters. Thank you very much, Valerie. Thank you very much, Jody. I really appreciate you taking that time. And I think we're going to have another webinar. If I can't even get this to, there we go. Our future webinars, the next one's going to actually be on avoiding burnout. How do you stay in this business for a long time as a farm stay host? There are going to be other topics. I'm hoping we'll do food on the farm, which is meals and classes. So it's going to be more like cooking classes and a little bit more in depth about food. Also, topics that have come up are weddings, maker workshops, nonprofit sanctuaries, tours large and small. These are all things that some of our farms do. So I thought it would be interesting for them to share those as well. So our next webinar will be on August 15th, Thursday at 11 a.m. Thank you guys very much. And
Thank you.
We will see you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.